This is Ladies Advanced Strength 2.0, Phase 2, Day 2. So this is the deadlift day. This is the hex bar RDL. So you can start there, Laura. So what I love about this exercise is it's a nice break from the normal RDL in that you can rest the weight at the bottom. So the RDL normally, you can start. The RDL normally starts at the top and gets to the bottom and back up to the top. Whether with this one you start at the bottom, you pull to the top, and then you go back to the bottom as well and rest down there. So that sounds very, very simple, but it makes a big difference on a lot of exercises. When you're starting at the top, at the hardest part, or starting at the bottom at the easiest part. If you can change that up, it gives a really good variation to the exercise. So toes pointing slightly out, and because the weight is on the hex bar instead of a normal barbell, it's more evenly distributed, takes pressure off the lower back. You'll get a little bit more help from your quads than you would from a normal RDL. And you don't want to do a normal hex bar deadlift with it, because a normal hex bar deadlift works the muscles more like a squat. So you want to lean forward a little bit more, push your glutes back further, like Laura is doing there. So at the bottom of the movement, your glutes are way further back than your heels. Let's go for 3 more. Pull up hard and fast, and slow, down, stop at the bottom, and fast, hard and fast. Drive your heels to the ground, thrust up, and you usually be able to add or use significantly more weight with a hex bar than you will with a barbell. So maybe 10, 20, or even 30 kg heavier. This is the side step up, okay? So hands on your hips, Laura, and just before you start, put this foot forward here and point your toe up. Okay, and that's the starting position. That'll make it difficult to press up, but it's going to force the heel or the whole leg on the box to work that bit harder. So drive through your heel, exactly, to lift yourself. And you'll see there, Laura's knee is bending, and that's where all the work is being done. Just above the kneecap, your VMO is what's being worked the hardest there. So step to the bottom, push your hips back, and drive up. And this is an excellent exercise to improve your squat technique. When you pair this step up with the knees over toes split squat, you're really teaching yourself the bottom half and the top half of a barbell squat. So with the foot that's on the box, you want to point your toe out just a little bit, like you would if you were doing a barbell squat. Bend the knee, touch the ground, and back up, and that's really, really good. This can be very tricky for balance at the start, so if you have to use something for balance, that's fine, but then you want to build up to a set of 10 to 20 reps with no weight. Or then you want to build up to a set of 10 to 20 reps without using any balance, and then you could add weight after that. And again, this will teach you how to use your VMO to drive through your heel, which is very, very valuable for heavier squatting and heavier Bulgarian split squatting further down the line. This is the 45-degree bench press. Okay, so just start the weight on your knees there, and you can fly back into it there. So okay, and lie all the way back. Just make sure that your feet are planted into the ground and they stay stable all the way throughout the reps. That you're far back slid into the seat, that you're not sliding down. Okay, you can start, Laura. And that makes a huge difference. It might seem like a small thing, having your feet planted, making sure you don't move throughout the set or slide down the bench, but it's something that a lot of people get wrong, especially if you're new to strength training. So bring your elbows all the way down, tap the shoulders, and drive up fast. Elbows all the way down, tap the shoulders, and punch up hard and fast as you can. And just rotate the dumbbell a little bit to neutral, punch up. Good, go for 2 more. 1, 2 down, push your head into the bench, squeeze the dumbbell as high as you can, tight grip, excellent. And 1 more, tap the shoulder and punch up hard and fast. Excellent, well done. This is the inverted row, okay? So bring your feet forward and you can start. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you squeeze your glutes to keep your body in a straight line as possible. When you go down to the bottom, open up your hands to neutral and pull up hard. Perfect. Keep your head back and pull up hard. Good. Super. And head back. Squeeze tight as you can. Keep them at neutral. So twist your hands a little bit this way and head back. perfect. So as you go through the set, it's going to get harder and harder to go up high, but I love this exercise. So to change from the variations where your chest is supported and you're in a fully stable position to in a more unstable position where you have to use your core a lot to hold you in place, it's the perfect variance between the two. So it's not necessarily that one is bad and the other is good. You should be using positions where you have to place a lot of emphasis on holding yourself position and then some in more isolated. This is the good morning. So this is one of my favorite lower body movements that's not used nearly as often as it should be. Okay, you can start the set there. So the first thing, and one of the most important things at the start, is you grab the bar a little bit wider, and you can see there that Laura's letting it go a little bit lower on her back. So you can start the set. So once you do that, as you go into the set and you start doing the reps, the bar doesn't slide nearly as much because you've grabbed it that little bit wider. So push your hips back, and that's a perfect technique. So a couple of main coaching cues is you want to really focus on pushing your hips back as far as you can past your heels. So push the hips back, 2, 3, and back up. And push the hips back as far as you can. So you're allowed a slight bend in your knees, and you're going to really feel the stretch mainly in your hamstrings, but also in your glutes. And your lower back will get worked really, really hard as well. So a lot of the best powerlifting coaches and Olympic lifting coaches in the world say that the good morning is their favorite or one of their favorite exercises for increasing your max strength on a squat or a front squat. So it really works the lower back very, very hard, and it gets you used to that uncomfortable position where your glutes and hamstrings are fully stretched. So go for 2 more reps. Squeeze the bar down and as hard as you can into your back instead of pushing it off your back, even if it feels uncomfortable at the start, the first 2 times you do it, and push your hips as far as possible past your heels. And if you're doing this exercise, you should be doing about 60% of your squat weight. This is the prowler push. I absolutely love this exercise, but sometimes it's very difficult to do it because you haven't got the space to do it in the gym. But if you have an opportunity to do it, I'd add it into your programs every so often for a month where I'm doing it twice a week. So you can start there, Laura. So you can think of it like very, very similar to a step up. There's not much of an eccentric portion to it. A little bit faster, punch, punch, punch. Exactly. It's not much of an eccentric portion to it, but your quads and your glutes are getting worked really, really hard. Just come to the side, maybe Kev a little bit. So big steps, you're on your toes and drive forward. You'll work your glutes and your quads really, really hard. I prefer it at the end of the session just to finish off your legs after they might be a little bit exhausted from squats or deadlifts. This is the wide grip lat pull down, okay? You can start there, Laura. So very simple tip at the start is in the setup to make sure you're nice and secure underneath it. So if you have to move this pad up a little bit higher, a little bit lower so that you're in a comfortable position, it makes a big difference before you start. Okay, drive down, elbows down to your chin. And you want to bring the bar down to your chin or to your nose. So drive the elbows down hard as you can. Keep your chest up high, and you want to avoid getting into that position where you hunch forward, which is what a lot of people do when they're doing the lat pull down. So chest up, shoulders back, and drive the elbows down as far as your chin. And you'll feel the big stretch on your lats at the top. And drive down. And this, like the seated cable row, you can do this exercise and work your back to complete exhaustion, go to absolute failure very, very safely. And you want to be filling your programs with as many exercises like that as possible. Exercises that are really hard, really challenging, where you're working a lot of muscles at once, that you can train to failure very, very safely without the risk of injury. And that lat pull down is perfect for that. This is the overhead tricep extension. Okay, you can go here. So get into position. And that looks a little bit complicated and it can be a little bit awkward if your shoulders are very tight, but it's only getting into position at the start of the exercise. Once you get used to it, it's very simple. Okay, so bend your knees, chin down a little bit forward, and you want to let it down as much as possible at the bottom. So there's a full stretch on the tricep, and then squeeze up. So 1, 2 down and up fast. Exactly, yeah, like you're trying to throw it, like a throw in soccer is what I say. And down real low, get a big stretch and pull up hard and fast. Excellent. The bottom and pull up hard and fast. Big stretch. And the big mistake a lot of girls make when they're starting strength training is they don't do isolation exercises for the arms or shoulders or the upper body in general. So bicep curls, tricep extensions, lat raises of all kinds can be very, very useful to get stronger at your more compound movements like press-ups, chin-ups, rows. Anything more compound will benefit from doing the isolation exercises as well.